We're on our 60-day healing journey to establish inner union. We did the work to stop attracting emotionally unavailable people. We stopped being a people pleaser and an overgiver and an oversharer. We became more secure, and we learned how to establish healthy boundaries by saying no from a space of love. Now we're working on our 60-day healing journey to establish inner union, to bring out the fragmented pieces of us together, to get back into alignment, to understand ourselves more, and get to know ourselves more, bring those pieces of us together, calling back our power. We're on day 12. We're going to be talking about staying with yourself during discomfort. So the affirmation for today is, I stay with myself through discomfort. Are you such an empath that when things get uncomfortable, or when you're in uncomfortable environments, you kind of get caught up in the feeling of things? Instead of you staying grounded, you get swept in the wave of emotions that are there. This is something that I had to learn how to, to understand. I had to understand this about myself. I would feel other people's emotions and then automatically think they're mine and then get a little bit out of whack. But I had to learn that even through times of discomfort, I have to stay grounded, I have to breathe, and I cannot let the waves of emotions or the situations around me pull me in. I also had to know when to walk away. I had to know that these things are changing around me. They're no longer in alignment with me. I'm not on the same page, so I need to separate myself. Because when you know yourself, then listen, when you know yourself better than anyone else, then you cannot get pulled into other people's stuff. Sometimes people don't understand who you are and why you do what you do. But when you know this is too much for me, then you know to pull back. You know what you can handle. So the affirmation is, I stay with myself through discomfort. No matter what's happening, we stay grounded and aligned. Because sometimes there are things that you learn from these situations. And if you don't stay with yourself, if you get pulled into the tide, you may not be picking up things that, picking up and understanding things that you should be learning in that moment. So don't allow yourself to get pulled into situations, etc. It's life, it's a journey. Sometimes we take things so much to heart that we just get pulled in and become sad and all these other emotions because we are not conscious in the moment. So again, it's about being conscious. It's being aware of what makes you, what has an effect on you. Being aware of your triggers, pretty much. So the somatic practice is hand on belly, breathe. So we're doing more breathing exercises. We'll breathe in for 4 and out for 8. With your hand on your belly, connect to your solar plexus. You even can take one hand on your heart and the other on your solar plexus and connect the heart with the solar plexus. The solar plexus is your place of willpower. Your stomach area is that place of willpower. So you're going to hold that area and you're going to breathe slowly. The visualization for today is see yourself staying present. See yourself staying present. So when there is a difficult time, see yourself withstanding, in that moment. It doesn't mean that you don't feel. It doesn't mean that you become indifferent. It just means that you don't allow yourself to get pulled into the tides. Just imagine the waves being rocky, and the waves represent your emotion. And imagine yourself staying present and staying strong as those waves brush past you. You don't allow yourself to get pulled into those currents, those emotional currents, the chaos that may be happening. You staying strong, and things start to bend around you. Things start to transform around you being strong and staying in that. And again, that does not mean that you don't feel. Matter of fact, when you allow yourself to feel, that's one of the strongest things that you could do. When you allow yourself to feel but not be pulled into the discomfort or the chaos or whatever, you allow yourself to go through it. So essentially it's like the waves going through you, the waves brushing past you. You feel the waves, but you're not letting them pull you down. You're fully aware of your feelings and how your feelings are affecting you, and you're fully aware of, what's happening. You're in the moment, you're present. The journal prompt is, what do I avoid feeling? And see, this is what I was just saying. We don't want to avoid feeling, because if you avoid feeling, how can you actually heal? How can you heal so that you can move on by not feeling? A lot of times we want to suppress what we feel because we do not want to deal with the emotions that come with it. And is that natural? I don't think so. If you start to feel something, for example, I'm going to say for myself, I recently had a situation and I just didn't want to think about it. So every time it came up, I just kept pushing it away. It came up again, I would push it away. Came up again, I would push it away. And then something to me said, it doesn't feel right to just be ignoring this. This feels like I'm stuck because I'm not allowing myself to actually feel it. Like I'm avoiding something and it's creating a wall. And so then something said to me, myself said to me, just allow yourself to feel it. And then once you feel it, you will go through the different stages. You will transmute that energy. It'll turn into something else because you will allow it to flow naturally. So at first you may feel sadness. It might turn into anger. And then that anger may turn into, it's okay. And then it may turn into joy because you was able to surpass it. So it's like I had to let myself go through those emotions until I worked my way around the cycle, and then I was able to get through it. But I couldn't get past it as long as I stayed indifferent and act like it didn't matter to me, like I didn't care. It just stuck with me and I couldn't let it go. But I had to actually release this and allow it to go through whatever feelings. And a lot of times we don't want to feel stuff because we just have this idea in our mind of what it's going to feel like. We already come up with this story of what it's going to feel like, and we don't want to feel something. So we just create that wall. But how are you healing when you're creating this wall? How is this actually helping you? How are you going to learn from it when you just block it out? You just create more blockages, more and more blockages until you become hardened. And that just doesn't work. It keeps you stuck. And instead of helping you evolve to the next level, we want to be flexible so that we're able to change and evolve. Changing and evolving is growth. We're not supposed to stay stuck forever and stay doing the same thing or being the same way forever. To me, that's a lie. You know how they say stability is when you've done the same thing for a long time? In my mind, I don't see it. I feel like stability is when you're able to change when you need to change and evolve when you need to evolve so that you can grow. That's stable. If you saw a plant that just stayed the same way, or a tree, something like a plant or a tree that just stayed exactly the same way all the time, what do you say? Dang, the season is changing and this plant or this tree is still like this. It still looks the same way. Really? And if you stuck, just imagine a tree with no leaves all year long, no shade, bearing no fruit. So see the connection between the two? So that's our journal prompt. What do I avoid feeling? Maybe you might come up with things that you need to actually address instead of avoiding things, so that you can move on, so that you can grow and blossom. The practice for today is sit with one feeling briefly. Sit with one feeling briefly. So if you have a feeling that keeps coming up, and you feel like it's safe to allow it to come up, then sit with that feeling briefly and process it. And maybe ask the feeling, what are you? What do you want? What are you trying to tell me? That's something I do. When feelings come up, for example, I had this feeling inside my chest. It would be like, I could just feel it sitting in my chest. And one day I had to ask it, what are you trying to tell me? Why do you keep coming up? Like, I noticed you there off and on for years. So what is this all about? What do I need to know? And answers started to come. I started to understand exactly what that feeling was. It was just something that I had, gotten used to for a long time. And then finally I spoke to the feeling, and then I got an answer because I brought awareness to it. I didn't try to block it out, push it down, suppress it. I actually asked it because this was a sign and a signal. It wasn't even like, see, we look at these things as bad things, even if it's an emotion that feels difficult or hard. It's signaling you and trying to show you something. And it's like, what are you trying to show me so that I can blossom, so that I can grow and evolve? What are you trying to teach me? What are you sharing with me? Why is this pain here? This pain is an indication that something is off and something needs to change. But if you ignore the pain, it's not like the pain is going to go away. You ignore it and you don't get the answer of like, why does this pain happen? So then perhaps you may continue the same cycle over and over and over, expecting a different result with the same pain, but it's not going anywhere because you haven't addressed it. Speak to your pain. What do you want? What are you trying to tell me? What do I need to know? Talk to it. It may sound crazy, but I'm telling you, it works. So we're going to sit with one feeling briefly. The holistic tip is chamomile or warm water if available. So you're going to get some chamomile tea and relax. And perhaps we'll have a great night's sleep. Try to get 8 hours in if we can. 8 hours is wonderful. I know we can't get 8 hours in all the time, but if you can, perfect. That is our holistic tip for today. I will see you tomorrow. Peace and love. Mwah.